participating with people from other nations. It's really in the hearts and the minds of the individuals in each of these countries. There's a way that now we think entrepreneurs might be the force for change in their countries for things beyond just economic change, that they can actually make the world a better place. The field of entrepreneurship is no longer something of narrow commercial significance. It's something of more cultural consequence. It's something that represents the possibility of human endeavor for the benefit of all. The globalization of startup communities actually gives the world a much better chance at solving some of the intractable challenges of the decades past. So in a sense, we see more citizens trying their hand at helping the world innovate its way out of its challenges. The world needs more entrepreneurs. It's a question of inspiring more people to recognize that it's more important to the future of their societies than they previously recognized. Global Entrepreneurship Week is an idea bigger than all of the communities that make it up, and it represents something that we can all aspire to, which is to be part of one global community of people ferreting out better ways of doing things and improving the lives of our citizens. I'm Jonathan Ortmans, and I'm with Global Entrepreneurship Week. Global Entrepreneurship Week is challenging to understand in some respects because it's 35,000 events happening at the same time in 125 different countries. Global Entrepreneurship Week offers you the opportunity to come and test your aptitude. Join a networking event. Come and meet a mentor. Come and experience a boot camp. Come and experience some other element of the startup community in your city, in your town, and learn about whether or not at some point in your life you may have the interest and the skill to be able to join a startup. And I think this has been effective in allowing people to feel that they're not only driving more of their fellow citizens to consider the path of entrepreneurship in their own countries, but they're learning and participating with people from other nations. It's really in the hearts and the minds of the individuals in each of these countries. There's a way that now we think entrepreneurs might be the force for change in their countries for things beyond just economic change, that they can actually make the world a better place. The field of entrepreneurship is no longer something of narrow commercial significance. It's something of more cultural consequence. It's something that represents the possibility of human endeavor for the benefit of all. The globalization of startup communities actually gives the world a much better chance at solving some of the intractable challenges of the decades past. So in a sense, we see more citizens trying their hand at helping the world innovate its way out of its challenges. The world needs more entrepreneurs. It's a question of inspiring more people to recognize that it's more important to the future of their societies than they previously recognized. Global Entrepreneurship Week is an idea bigger than all of the communities that make it up, and it represents something that we can all aspire to, which is to be part of one global community of people ferreting out better ways of doing things and improving the lives of our citizens. I'm Jonathan Ortmans, and I'm with Global Entrepreneurship Week. Global Entrepreneurship Week is challenging to understand in some respects because it's 35,000 events happening at the same time in 125 different countries. Global Entrepreneurship Week offers you the opportunity to come and test your aptitude. Join a networking event. Come and meet a mentor. Come and experience a boot camp. Come and experience some other element of the startup community in your city, in your town, and learn about whether or not at some point in your life you may have the interest and the skill to be able to join a startup. And I think this has been effective in allowing people to feel that they're not only driving more of their fellow citizens to consider the path of entrepreneurship in their own countries, but they're learning and participating with people from other nations. It's really in the hearts and the minds of the individuals in each of these countries. There's a way that now we think entrepreneurs might be the force for change in their countries for things beyond just economic change, that they can actually make the world a better place. The field of entrepreneurship is no longer something of narrow commercial significance. It's something of more cultural consequence. It's something that represents the possibility of human endeavor for the benefit of all. The globalization of startup communities actually gives the world a much better chance at solving some of the intractable challenges of the decades past. So in a sense, we see more citizens trying their hand at helping the world innovate its way out of its challenges. The world needs more entrepreneurs. It's a question of inspiring more people to recognize that it's more important to the future of their societies than they previously recognized. Global Entrepreneurship Week is an idea bigger than all of the communities that make it up, and it represents something that we can all aspire to, which is to be part of one global community of people ferreting out better ways of doing things and improving the lives of our citizens.
Everyone knows the order to introduce themselves.
I'm Jonathan Ortmans, and I'm with Global Entrepreneurship Week. Global Entrepreneurship Week is challenging to understand in some respects because it's 35,000 events happening at the same time in 125 different countries. Global Entrepreneurship Week offers you the opportunity to come and test your aptitude.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Elizabeth Figger, and I'm the GEW coordinator for Penn's GEW programming this year. We are super excited about today's event, which is going to showcase some entrepreneurial resources that are available to current and aspiring entrepreneurs all across the state. And we're going to highlight some really cool resources available to Center County entrepreneurs. So specifically, we will be featuring 3 Dots Downtown, New Leaf Initiative, and Discovery Space and the Rivet. So I will introduce those folks in just a second here. But before I do, I wanted to give you a heads up. Today, you will be going on interactive tours of each of those 3 spaces. So we're really hoping that you will interact with our speakers during the tour. We want you to ask questions. We will be launching a couple of choose your own adventure polls where you can decide where you're going to go next in the space. So we'd love your interaction. You can join us on our Facebook or our YouTube streams. Post your comments right in the questions. All right, let's go. So at this point, I'd like to welcome all of our participants today to join me on screen. Hi, everyone. So nice to see all of your smiling faces. Thank you so much for doing this. We're so excited to see all of these spaces, especially because we know right now during the pandemic, we don't really get a chance to look inside just yet. And we hope that by showcasing these spaces today, it'll help people realize all of the cool resources that you have to offer and come and visit you as soon as they can. So I'm going to turn things over to Liz so that she can introduce herself, and then everyone else will go too.
Okay. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it very much. And I'm honored to be part of this exciting tour of multiple spaces. I'm retired from Penn State, have been involved in entrepreneurship in the Penn State and State College community for over 20 years. And so just very happy to be able to be the moderator today. So, Spud.
Hey all, Spud here from 3 Dots. I'm the innovation director. I've been in town for the past 10 years or so, running a bunch of different community spaces. And so super excited to give you a sneak peek today behind the scenes of one of them here at 3 Dots.
Hi, I'm Michele Crowl from Discovery Space and the Rivet, and I'm joined by my team, Camille Sogan and Evan Rosengrant. We're going to give you a tour of the Rivet today.
Hi, I'm Abby Gaffron. I am the Executive Director of New Leaf Initiative, and we're going to give you a tour of our space and answer some questions. Glad you're all here.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. At this point, I'm going to leave so that you can have fun on your tours, but I'll be back at the end. Have fun.
Okay. All right, Elizabeth, thanks very much. And I actually want to do a thank you to Jason Brown, who's in the background making all this magic happen. So hats off to him. So let's head over to Three Dots. And Spud, can you give us your tour?
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for stepping inside Three Dots because there have not been many people here over the last couple of months. So we're excited to virtually let you inside. For those that are unfamiliar with Three Dots, let me orient you a little bit. So we are actually on the downtown. So many people might be familiar with the Halal food truck, which is right outside our door here on the corner of Beaver and Pew. And so that's where our space is located. So I'll show you inside here a little bit. We are an arts and innovation center. And so we really support local creatives that want to start up different ventures and initiatives and artistic endeavors. We're a space to help those folks get off the ground. So let me give you a sneak peek inside because the space has been a little bit quieter than it typically is. So usually it's very animated here. Obviously with COVID over the last couple of months, we've shut the space down, but we still continue to do some programming, which I'll share a little bit. But typically, this space would have a couple different functions. So we have kind of three different zones in our space. So one of the zones over here is our stage and performance area. And so we have lots of dance groups and musicians and bands and alternative music and all kinds of different stuff that happens in this space. So it's a really multi-figurable piece. You may have been here perhaps with a different student club or organization that you're involved in. We have lots of different organizations that use this part of our space in particular for different creative programming. So that's 1/3 of the space. The other third of our space is our gallery. And so down these walls, typically this is where we're constantly changing out our art fairly frequently. So you'll see remnants of our recent hang, which was happening right before spring break, before we had to close down the space. We've got a couple pieces still left up from that group. But we are always changing and trying to focus and highlight on different local artists. And then our third space is over here, which is kind of our innovation lounge. And so this is where people come to kind of brainstorm creative ideas that they might have. And then we try to support them in getting those projects off the ground. So we actually give out $1,000 grants every month to people that want to do creative endeavors in town. And so that's been one of the things that we've been doing during this COVID time is continuing to give out those grants. So would love to hear from you on where you want to go next. So we'll send the poll out to everybody. So we've got a secret gallery that you can go learn a little bit more about. We've got our loft, and then we also have one of my favorites, our storage bin area. So where would you love to see more in our space here? So we'll give people a chance to fill out the poll here for us.
Yep, so everybody in the audience, please respond to the poll. You are now part of the tour and telling Spud next
where to go.
Where to go.
Yeah, there are lots of hidden little gems throughout. And as people are doing that, I'll show one of my favorite things as we're kind of getting a sense of what people want to see more of. One of the things that I particularly love about our space is our Harry Potter wall. So I mentioned these $1,000 grants that we give out every month. And so you'll actually see up here when I walk up to the wall, this is one of our grant winners, Ashley, that we funded a couple months earlier. And she did a project called School and Life, which is kind of this podcast program and supporting young female Black creatives in town. And so each month we give out different grants. You may have seen some of the murals around town that we funded. So there's all kinds of different stuff. So this is our Harry Potter wall where we feature a few of those creative individuals in town. So Liz, what's the poll saying? Where should we take folks next?
I think we're waiting for the results still. Oh, I think the result just came in. It is the loft.
The loft. All right. So the loft is right up this way. And hint, hint, if you're looking for the secret gallery, it's this way. But you'll have to wait till our space is open if you were somebody that wanted to see that. So upstairs, we've got our loft here. Hopefully you can see my feet, at least as we go get up. We've got a big tripod that we're bringing with us here. So this is our loft space. And so we usually have lots of different art up here. So again, you'll see some of our previous artists that are featured up here. And then if you come over this way, this is where lots of groups will kind of meet, but you can get a really nice view of the whole space from up here. So we'll try to get the camera over here for you and give kind of a peek over. So you can see down here, there's a whole bunch of different stuff. We've got some of our stuff in our windows. So we'll send the second poll out here to get a sense of what people want to learn more about. So you'll see all those kind of lights going on down there. So in the poll, the second poll that we got going, would you love to learn more about that lighting installation or some of our $1,000 grant winners? Let me know where you'd like to go next. So, and as folks are doing that poll, we'll head back downstairs here and try to navigate conveniently down the stairs. And Liz has been up here. This is actually where we vote on lots of our $1,000 grants every month. And so when the space was open, Liz is one of our trustees and members that helps vote on those projects. So Liz, I know you've been up here quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the $1,000 grants are an amazing opportunity for budding entrepreneurs or non-entrepreneurs to get a foothold on a new idea that can benefit the community. So hopefully, maybe that'll be the vote. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what they want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, the $1,000 grants have been really excited. We've given over 30 already. I know I'm starting to go down that route already, but it's great. If you're an entrepreneur and you're just looking for some cash to kind of get started, it's a really easy, no strings attached way to do so. But what's the poll say? What would folks love to hear more? Light installation, $1,000 grants.
All right, and the vote is in. It's grants. Do they want to hear more about grants?
More about the grants. Awesome. Well, we'll turn around over here. So this is actually a list of a bunch of our community members that are involved that help fund these grants. So 3 Dots is actually part of a global initiative we're called the Awesome Foundation. And the Awesome Foundation is a bunch of people in different cities that get together and each person gives $100 a month, and then they pull that money to give out these no strings attached grants every month. And so it's a really fun, creative, kind of decentralized way to fund creativity and entrepreneurship in your town. So we happen to be one of those chapters. There's many, many chapters all around the world. And we give out all kinds of different grants. So some of my favorites, if you've seen the Wild Geese mural, which is right beside Webster's, that was one of the grants that we funded a little bit ago. More recently, we funded a project this summer, which I actually thought was really fun, called Sponsor a Bird Feeder. And so people could sponsor a retirement center in town that needed a bird feeder set up outside their windows. And so people were able to build relationship with some of their community members. I know, Liz, you've been involved. We've started up a Restart seed fund for formerly incarcerated individuals that want to start up some entrepreneurial ventures. And so we've helped kickstart that fund. So all kinds of different things, everything from food ventures. We helped fund the Golden Baskets Award. So for folks that have been in town over the summer, we do kind of like an Iron Chef competition between some of the local farmers markets and local chefs. So all kinds of different creativity is taken in there. So if you've got a creative idea, feel free to come in. Every month you can submit an idea, and then our members and trustees vote on that to give it out. So that's a little glimpse, but we can definitely talk about that more later on.
Good. All right. Thanks very much. I think we need to move off to our second location, and we're going to head over to Discovery Space and Rivet. So I think Michele.
Hello. Welcome to Discovery Space. This is our front door, but right now we are closed. There are 2 parts to our organization. So you're standing at the door for the Science Center, which is for children and families ages 6 months old to about 14. But right now, we're going to walk you to the other side of the building. We have recently opened a makerspace called the Rivet, and it has a separate entrance because it has an older audience. So the Rivet is really meant for kids 14 years old up through adults. Let's go.
All right, so Michele's strolling outside along Discovery Space back to the Rivet area, which is a high bay area on the kind of on the backside of the facility. And they recently opened, and they are actually offering classes now. So
we're almost there.
Yeah.
So near the back of our parking lot, by our big garage door, you'll find the main entrance to the Rivet. Got the door for you. Come on in. Welcome. This is our front bay, and previous to COVID, we had plans in this bay to open up a woodworking and a metalworking shop. As you can see right now, it gets a variety of use for projects and other classes that use sort of heavy-duty woodworking equipment. But if we head back into this next bay, you'll see the main part of what we do, and Camille will join us in just a moment. So you can see in this bay, we have a pottery studio with pottery wheels and a kiln. Further back, we have a laser. This is our sign shop. And so you can laser cut. We have a vinyl cutter that goes in this area too. As you scan past, you'll see our classroom kind of behind this space. We're going to be sitting in here a little bit later. There's an electronics bench, jewelry bench, 3D printers, heat presses, and this classroom is used for a lot of other programming. It's very movable. Textiles area over here. And so we actually are going to invite Camille to join us on screen here in just a moment, where we have some poll questions, so you can choose the things that you're interested in learning about. I'll give this to you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Camille. I am very much involved with the Rivet, and I have been since our inception. And I'm really happy to talk about entrepreneurship here at the Rivet and how you can use our space. So I wanted to, while we're waiting on poll questions, just talk about our individual areas, maybe a little bit more in depth. If you want to swing over here, Evan, to the our sewing machines and our embroidery machine, if you want to, you can zoom in close up to there and see that we have this very nice CNC embroidery machine that's available for use for people, part of the public. If you want to ask any, if you want to learn more about how you can get involved, of course, you can visit our website. And that's what the poll questions are for, right? If you want to come on over here. So our laser cutter is a Speedy Trotec 400. It's a Speedy 400 Trotec laser engraving machine. It's a 80-watt CO2 laser tube. It is really nice. It allows us to do all sorts of kinds of engraving.
We actually just heard we want to hear more about the lasers. So
oh, we want to learn more about the lasers, so I'm going to stay here. All right. So the laser cutter is a really versatile machine. I always think about it as sort of a tool that you can really take in a whole lot of different directions. You can make all of your own art, but also there are all sorts of things that are involved, that are in your life that you don't necessarily think about as being laser cut, but they are. So for instance, Levi's uses lasers to distress their jeans. And if you look down at your feet, you may discover that you're wearing shoes that have been laser cut. All sorts of apparel items are laser cut, but also there are all sorts of different other types of products. Anytime that you get a customized, beautiful travel mug, usually those have been laser engraved. All sorts of your favorite Penn State mugs are laser engraved. And of course, you can learn how to do that yourself here. You do have a number of things up here. These were all some things that I made before coming to the Rivet, and they're just on display to show you what you can do. I like to laser cut and engrave wood. However, you can do all sorts of different materials. So plastics, paper, leather, any kind of organic material. You can even mark metal, though our machine is not quite powerful enough to cut metal. We allow people to use this machine after they take a training class. So you could take our laser cutting clearance class, that's our training class. And then that's a $15 class, 2 hours. And then you can come in on, during our open hours, it's a $7 to use the space for a day. So, the sky's the limit for what you can make for, under $30.
Very good. I think we're waiting
Happy to talk more about the potential for this machine as far as if you're trying to start a business. This machine, I know for a fact, is a very good business starting machine. I started my own business using it, not this particular one, but a laser cutter. And there is an insane amount of demand for laser cut goods and items. You can find quite a lot of commission work, and we're good on laser cutters.
Would you want to tell us about some of the makers that are using the space now, and maybe some of the projects that have been made in the space?
Absolutely. Since we're standing here at the laser cutter, I can tell you that we have a maker that comes in fairly regularly to make a laser cut Catan board game out of hardwoods. He's doing that for himself. I don't expect he wants to sell it or anything, but we can also walk over to the pottery area. We have a number of artists that are making pottery and selling out of our space. So you can see some examples of some pots. This artist here is an artist who makes her own pottery at home, but she comes and fires it in our kiln, and she's definitely one of our makers who makes money being a potter, which is awesome. So the cost of a kiln is pretty high, and she can't have that at home, so we can provide that for her. We have all sorts of other makers using the space, making all sorts of different things. There's a maker making patches for a downtown company. There are a number of people who are just trying to increase their own skill in pottery. We have a lot of instructors here who are starting businesses or who have their own successful businesses so that they can really, translate that knowledge, the knowledge that they have about those skills onto their students. So our instructors are just a wonderful group of people. We have a number of classes coming up. So I would really encourage you to check that out. That's the rivet.org. And you can meet some of those instructors yourself.
Maybe you want to talk about any projects that have been from the 3D printers?
Sure. We have great plans for our plastics area. Right now, we have 6 3D printers, and a lot of people have made, miniature figures. We've had vases, all sorts of really cool things have been made on our printers. We did a really great event where we 3D scanned we 3D scanned everyone's heads, and we 3D printed them as bobbleheads, and that was a really fun thing. I know that a lot of you listening may have your own bobblehead from that event. And if you want to do that, we can do that here for sure. We're really excited to be welcoming an SLA printer very soon. It's on its way. It is from a really reputable company, and that printer will allow us to do really high resolution prints, and we'll be able to do some really interesting things with it. All sorts of different resins allow you to make really interesting products.
Do you have any closing words before we send it along to the next door?
I guess make something, make anything here at the Rivet, but also, really encourage people to make things and work with their hands to get involved.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much, Camille. And it's an amazing tour. More information, you can go to therivet.org and learn all about the classes. And next, we want to roll over to our final tour over at New Leaf. And I'd like to introduce Abby. Abby, are you there?
Hi, everybody. Looks like you found us. We are here at New Leaf. This is the entrance. We're on the 3rd floor of the Borough Building. And as you can see, you come down the right-hand hall at the 3rd floor, see our sign, then you come back in this way, and we're going to go right back in here into our space. So New Leaf is pretty much a big open co-working space. We offer about 14 desks and a variety of seating areas and tables. We're going to just walk around the space and kind of get a feel for the whole room, do events. Before COVID, working with limited hours supply. But we have a co-worker in our conference right now. We can kind of come over here and let the cameras zoom in a little bit. So that is our green conference room. It seats about 12 people, and you don't have to be a member to reserve it before COVID. And as soon as we have a little bit of a clearer space after COVID, if you're not a member, you're able to reserve the conference room. So you want to launch the poll and see where we're going to go next as we kind of just take a look around the whole room. And see what area you'd like to see a little bit more.
Okay, so I think there might be a poll coming up soon. Abby, if you can, stay closer to the camera, that would be great.
Okay.
And the poll is up. So please, everybody in the audience, let us know what you'd like to see next or hear about next.
So we have a meeting room, we have booths, phone booths that you can take a look at.
Cool. Let's see what people vote on. Yeah, the phone booth sounds pretty interesting. Who would guess you'd have those in a space? And let's see. What can you tell us about the plants that are next to you there?
So we do have a lot of plants. One of the nicest things about New Leaf are all of the plants we have. We also have the wood, recycled barnwood. So the space is kind of light, airy, full of lots of greenery, very energizing. Always feels good to do some work up here.
Yeah, very nice. So we have the results from the poll in, and people want to hear more about the phone booths.
All right, so come right this way. Over here on the right side, we do have our phone booth. So we have 4 little cubbies. You slide the door open. Work out. There's a light. There's a light there for you to use. You can kind of slide in, hold it up, and have a little privacy to take a phone call, do some work, take a video call. Yeah.
Very cool. Very nice. So can you tell us who is the audience that would probably use the New Leaf space the most?
So we have a lot of different members who use our space, anyone from an entrepreneur starting a business to a remote worker whose company is located in Pittsburgh or Scranton or Philly. You have a small business and you just need a little extra space. You need a conference room to have a board meeting. We have a lot of nonprofits that use it as extended office space. It's really quite usable for anybody who just wants a nice, quiet space to get some work done, collaborate with other people in the area. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. But it looks like another poll is up. So let's see what the response is. Let's see. And the next poll question that we'd like to hear about is virtual membership.
Cool. So one of the things since COVID that we started looking at is a way to help people stay connected who are working from home. So we're going to be launching a virtual membership in January that's just going to allow people to stay connected, have a little bit of time in the space, but be joining us for coffee, joining us for some monthly workshops and just learning activities, and hopefully have a couple other little fun things to add, as well as an access to our Facebook page that's specifically for our virtual members and our in-person members, and our Slack community feeds. So we're going to be running that starting in January.
Very cool.
And if you'd like to know more about the space, if you're interested in using it now, as I said, we are working on limited hours because we're in the 3rd floor of the Borough building. We have some limitations due to how the building is open. So the best way is to just reach out to me directly at abby@newleafinitiative.org, and I can get you set up to be able to come in and utilize the space and get you set up with a membership that works best for you, especially during COVID.
Great, great. Well, I know the space is, like you said, it's very light, and it's not only a great place to work individually, but I know you try to have what we call happy collisions happen between people that work there and to create new ideas and just to create community. So can you tell us a little bit more about maybe a couple ventures or companies that are working there?
So we have a couple different people working with us right now. I mean, because of during COVID, our membership, people have kind of put a lot of things on hold. But in the past, we've had a lot of different companies. We've had some social market media companies who've worked with us. We've had some remote workers, some engineers, just a woman who is, using 3D printers to create some cookie molds and things. So a lot of different things.
Yeah. Very neat. Very neat. Good. Well, I know COVID has impacted everybody that has space. Three Dots hasn't been open, Discovery Space hasn't been open, and I know it's impacted New Leaf also. What do you recommend for people that really would like to get into some of these new spaces for a change of location? For New Leaf, should they contact you to find out what the hours are and options?
Yes, the best way is to just contact me directly. Because of some of the limitations during COVID, we're really keeping the amount of people in this space to very few as opposed to the space that we had before COVID. There's also some limitations to get into the building. So it's not hard to do once you know how it all works, but it isn't as easy as just walking into the building the way it was before. But yeah, definitely the best way is to reach out to me directly. You can find my email address on the website.
Great. Okay. Well, I think we're just about ready to roll into our next section of our time here, and we have what we call a moderated discussion. So we're going to actually bring back Spud and Michele, and hopefully maybe Camille and Evan at the Rivet, as well as Abby. So let's see. As people start coming back on, I think everybody's showing up. Yay, Jason Brown is doing his thing. So I guess the takeaway for me is there are lots and lots of, at least 3 sets of resources that we've shown here today for what we'll call budding entrepreneurs or people who just want to explore the idea of maybe a side gig, a way to explore and develop your skills. There is one other resource that I'll mention, and this is a statewide resource. It's through Penn State. It's called Happy Valley. It's called Happy Valley Launchbox here in the State College area, but every Penn State campus has a Launchbox-like facility. That means there's resources there for you to help you decide if you have a great idea. That could be a new venture, how you would get started, how you would find customers. So there's resources everywhere across Penn State. So for every Penn State location, take a look at that. Some of them are still setting up their facilities, but there are entrepreneurship resources at every single Penn State campus location, and take advantage of that. Really good people, and there's more support out there than you might think about. So I think, again, we're doing all the magic behind the curtain to bring everybody back on. And we will have a chance to do some more Q&A. So you can send in questions via Facebook or via Zoom, and I'll be watching those with the help of Elizabeth, and we can fire those off to the panel members as we get moving on here. So entrepreneurship is perhaps for some of you something that you thought, I'm an artist. I'm not sure I can, it's really in my bag. But how do I do that? And man, maybe it sounds too capitalistic or something like that. But you have every right to make a partial living or a living off your amazing skills and gifts. So don't ever be afraid to step away from that. So it looks like, based on Jason's screen, I think we've got everybody here. So Abby, are you there? Can you want to say hi? All right, and Spud, are you there?
We're here, good to go.
All right, and it looks like we've got the Rivet Space with everybody socially distanced. So hello, Rivet Space.
Hello.
All right. So I have a few questions, kind of canned questions that we're going to get started with. And I guess the first one I'll send out to everybody. What do you think are the main resources that your organization can provide anyone looking to launch a new product, service, or initiative? Like, what do you think is that key thing that you would always say, this is us to help new entrepreneurs? Why don't we go with Spud first?
Yeah. Well, I'll piggyback off what you were saying earlier, that sometimes the label entrepreneurship is a really scary thing to put that on as an identity. And so I would say one of the things that Three Dots offers is the ability to not feel like that's a really intimidating label to have to walk into. So when people walk into our space, we're a really naturally creative, curious group. And so we don't necessarily talk the entrepreneurship lingo that you might find in a group like Launchbox or so. So we talk a different language, and yet we're doing the same thing, right? We're helping people create things. And so we're coming at it from a bit of an artistic lens. When I think of entrepreneurship, I think of entrepreneurs start and create things, right? They love getting into the weeds and building something new, learning from that and seeing whether it sticks or not. And so we help people build and create things from kind of an artistic community organizing perspective. One of the biggest assets that I think we can give any emerging creator or entrepreneur is simply some cash to give it a go. Oftentimes people love to talk about ideas, and you've got the whiteboards and you're brainstorming things, and then it stays there. And then you go and talk to your friend about it, and you just keep talking about the idea. And I think there's a lot of value in show, not tell. And so at Three Dots with our $1,000 grants, right, we help you get $1,000 to show your idea, not just talk about it over and over and over. And I think that's a really important asset to offer into the community.
Yeah, and I think that funding that can come through Three Dots is something that can roll over into both the New Leaf Space and the Rivet Space, right? So it can helping in multiple ways. So let's go to the Rivet. So if you could list one or two things that you really think is unique about the Rivet and helping launching products, what do you think it would be? Michele or Camille?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Camille and Evan, because they're the ones that bring the space to life.
I do think that our biggest asset is our workshop. It's a community of people who have skills, but also the physical space and tooling that you need in order to start your business. And so that physical aspect is just so hard to come by. If you live in an apartment or you just can't afford a tool, it's a really big barrier to starting a business. So if we can lower that barrier and make it easier for you to start your business with less money, and then run your business, you can absolutely create the products that you're trying to create here and sell from here, and that's all your own. You've done that.
Yeah, I think the ability to use tools that again are outside people's typical budget, and especially if you're just experimenting. It's like I'd love to learn how to do vinyl cutting. Where can that all lead as far as products and services, or just things that I want to make for myself? So
absolutely, we encounter quite a lot of accidental entrepreneurs here. People who want to try a tool or have an idea, but it's big, and they don't know if they really want to go into business. And when they become successful, they can really launch that from here. And it's just so much easier to do that than if they were on their own without these resources.
Yeah. Cool. So Abby, same question. What do you think your organization is the key thing that you can provide to help people launch or do change-making things?
Yeah. So, I think the best thing about us is that workspace that you can utilize for an hour a week, for a day a week, every day of the week. If you aren't ready to take on the overhead of an office space, this is a great place to come connect to other people who are working, who have small businesses. One of the things I really see New Leaf is doing is being a connection piece to the other resources. So we have great relationships with Launchbox, with the SBDC, with the Rivet, and with 3 Dots, so that if you're like, hey, I had this idea, but I have nowhere no idea where to go, come talk to us and we'll send you to the right people. We'll set you up with SCORE. We'll tell you to go talk to Spud and the guys at 3 Dots. You know, it's a great place to just be like, hey, I want to do this and come talk to us. Or if you're already doing it, but you want to get out of your house because you don't want to sit at home and talk to your dog all day because that's what you always do. We're all sick of that during COVID. I know. It's this place to come. You can come in, you can get some coffee with us. It's a little harder during the situation, which it is for everybody. You know, we're not operating at the optimal level, but when we all start to feel a little safer going out and being around more people, I think co-working is going to be such a great answer for people. I just want to say, I think there are a lot of people who are able to work remotely who never knew that it was possible. COVID's definitely opened the door to this idea of like, maybe we don't have to have our workday work the way it always has. And so as we are coming out of this and the vaccines come out and we're like, okay, how do we want our lives to be after COVID? Co-working is a great answer to that. You know, it's a great way to have a professional setting, take professional meetings, come in, you know, during the time period while kids are at school, so you can be at home when they get off the bus, you can be there before they leave, you can get out of your house. So I think there's a lot of potential for co-working for anybody. You have a hobby that's maybe starting to make you a little more money than you thought it was going to, and you want to explore it further. It's a great place to come. You're a remote worker and you just don't want to be in your home office. It's a great place to be. Or if you're like, yep, I've got a new business and I am on this, but I don't want the overhead and I want to have a more team collaborative feeling, and we're all going to have different desks, but we're going to use the conference rooms to meet together. We've done that too. So there's a lot of possibilities for anyone who's feeling the entrepreneurial itch.
Good. And the professional setting is something that you need sometimes, right? If you're launching a company, you need that space to have that professional look. So cool. So another question for everybody, from your experience in starting a new venture or launching, pushing change, what's your number one piece of advice? You know, you've been there. All of you have made things happen that didn't exist before, right? You've created something from nothing. So we'll just start with Spud again. What's your biggest piece of advice?
The quote that is always top of mind for me is that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I think that has probably been the most important piece of advice that I've taken when I look back at all the things that I've created. Is like, if I'm swimming alone and I'm the only one in my community or in a certain workspace that is trying to do new creative things, then the amount of time it takes to get that initiative off the ground is exponentially more than if I'm in a room with 5 other people that are also doing creative things. And it might have nothing to do with the project or the venture that I'm working on, but they're just in a headspace of wanting to create new things. I think that's the magic of all of these spaces here. It's like, we help surround you with the people that are going to think differently. And that's what you need as an entrepreneur, is you need to be surrounded by people that are willing to take risks, willing to look at things upside down, right? Willing to challenge the status quo, whether that's from an artistic perspective, from a making perspective, from a work perspective, right? Like, we all kind of go at it a little bit differently, but that's been the number one piece of advice is I think to myself, where are the moments where I've had the most powerful conversations? And they never happen at a venture IP conference or at a panel discussion or anything like that. It happens in these really chaotic, spontaneous moments that are spaces like New Leaf and the Rivet and 3 Dots, where you're just you're hanging out and you bump into somebody who's also doing something creative, and then a resource emerges from that, or a funding opportunity, right? Those are actually the really more powerful moments for me when I look back at my own entrepreneurial journey, than trying to go the formal route of okay, I need to do this pitch deck and then get it in front of these 10 people. It's just surround yourself by others who are creative and thinking differently, and expect and lean into the ability that those people and that network and that ecosystem are going to help create opportunities for you that you might not, have known to look for on your own.
Yeah, very true. It's talk about solo entrepreneurs, but they are rare, and they typically, the ones that do get going, have an amazing network around them that are supporting them and kicking around ideas. So I totally agree. So let's go to the Rivet. So what's your number one piece of advice? It's been a long road to get a makerspace in State College. It's pushing a rock up a hill. So congratulations. So give us some advice. How'd you pull it off?
So I think for me, the biggest piece of advice I can give a new entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that's midway through their startup journey is have a little bit of confidence in the decisions that you're making. So unfortunately or fortunately, the nature of starting a business means that you're doing all sorts of things that you've never done before, that nobody's a particular expert at, and that you're definitely not an expert at. And so I think there's a tendency to doubt yourself and to doubt your decisions, but if you have a vision and you're confident in that vision, you should try to bring that confidence to the decisions, the small decisions that you're making. You're not necessarily going to know whether those decisions are the right ones immediately. You're not going to have a lot of feedback immediately. And so I would say that it's about having that confidence to make those decisions, to take the step of starting a makerspace, and and I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, well, get excited about the scary stuff, right? We started a science center almost 10 years ago now with people saying, oh, great idea, it'll never work. Well, it worked, and we've grown. And then we had this beautiful garage space with nothing in it. And there had been talk about a makerspace, but it's not an easy thing to get started. And a lot of people weren't sure how or why they would use it. And I think actually all of us on this call, this Zoom, feel the same way. There's a lot of people who say, what do I need a co-working space for? What's 3 dots do for me? But the exciting part is sort of the scary things, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And we brought people from the community together who got excited about it with us. And it's here now.
Yeah, and if I can just add something too, I think a really key factor is patience, both with yourself and with your ideas. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you're always introducing yourself to new things. And especially at the Rivet, we have so many classes, we're about teaching people these, hands-on skills. And so to come at that with a sense of almost reverence, to be like, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to take my time and you're going to do it right. And that, you have to have the confidence to get in there and then the patience to follow through and be gentle with yourself, be gentle with your ideas. And
Yeah, it's a road, right? And it's patience and building confidence across time, for sure. And finding that network of people again that can help you learn and kind of grow into the next you as you're learning. So how about Abby? How about you? What's your number one piece of advice?
I think it's, 2 things I was thinking about is be curious, be really curious and talk to as many people as possible. And at the same time, be curious about their answers. So just because you talk to someone and they give you an answer, don't take that as the sole answer. Just keep talking about it. Just be keeping curious, keep an open mind to what's possible, I think is the biggest one. And the second one is don't be afraid to fail. I think there's something about the entrepreneurial spirit where you have to be willing to fail, pick yourself back up, learn from that, and fail again, and fail again, and fail again. Pema Trojan says, fail again, fail better. And so I think that's a lot of it is be really curious, what happened? How did it work? Who's done it? Who else has done it? Who wants to help? And be ready to fail, because the failure is so very much part of the journey.
Yep. Learning through mistakes, right? It's all about that, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, right? But especially as an entrepreneur, that didn't go well. What did I learn, and what do I try next? So I wanted to make sure we remind the audience that please send us your questions for these panelists. We'll funnel them in as they come. And I know, again, great resources here. I'm sure you have some questions, so please send those in. I had one last kind of canned question. How does a budding entrepreneur or change maker start a conversation with your organization? Right. So I think we heard from Abby, you contact her directly. How about Spud? What's the best path for you?
So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of because I think I'm the only Spud in town, maybe in Pennsylvania. I'm not quite sure. So if you just Google Spud, you'll find me in some way to communicate. So yeah, if folks want to connect on an individual level, happy to chat across the range, right? Text me, email me, find me on social media, whatever is easier for folks. But then if you also want to like dig a layer beneath the surface for like a group like 3 Dots, one of the things that I love about the spaces that we have highlighted today is that they're all very community powered. And so I can only ever give you a sliver of the 3 Dots story. And there are so many other slivers that folks could hear from. So if you go to our website, 3dotsdowntown.com/grants, you'll actually see all 30 past grant winners, and you can get a hold of them and see their projects there. And so like, you know, building on what Abby said of like, follow your curiosity, that's one of my favorite phrases. Is so many people in the entrepreneurship space talk about follow your passion. And I think that is a very misguided phrase. And so like, I love the substitute of don't follow your passion, follow your curiosity. And so like, give yourself the homework assignment of like, go to the grants page on 3 Dots and find 10 of the 30 people that really spark your curiosity in some way and send each of them a message. Everybody is isolated in COVID time right now, so they will all respond because we have nothing else to do, right? So myself included. So come reach out to us. Like, don't let that be the intimidating first step, because it's very easy to get in touch with any of the people here. And I guarantee you that the piece that I always like to end every like connection with. So if I reach out to someone, I always end that conversation with, who are the next 2 people that you think I should talk to, right? And if you do that, that exponentially grows from 1 person to 100 people really, really quick. I don't know what the math is for any math majors out there. You can figure out that calculation for me right now. But right, like just end every conversation with, who are the next 2 people that you think I should meet? And right in 2 months' time, you'll have reached out to a whole bunch of different community entrepreneurs and creatives that can help spark some open door for you on your journey.
Yeah, that's great. So how about Michele and Camille and Evan? You know, how do we get started? Do we reach you individually or through the website? What's the best path?
Well, I'd say the best path is probably through the website, therivet.org. Right now, obviously, things are a little bit different than how they used to run here, but we are still offering lots of classes. We offer one-on-one classes and stuff like that, appointments to come use tools in space. So if you email us at therivet@discoveryspace.org or just visit the website, you can find us. But really, we're all here and extremely excited to help people along in their process. So if you do shoot us an email or give us a call, we will get right back to you. I can guarantee that.
Okay, great. So I had a question for the Rivet. Let's say I'm already pretty skilled at jewelry making or fabrics, and I like to dabble in maybe being an instructor. Like how would I do that? Do I reach out to you? What's the probability of becoming an instructor? What skills do I need to have?
Yeah, we're always looking for instructors and trying to broaden our community of skills. And so if you want to become an instructor, you can reach out to us. Again, you can go on the website. There's a form for that. Get involved. And beyond that, even if you don't want to teach a class and you already have these skills, if you want to volunteer, we often, in non-COVID times, we allow volunteers we ask volunteers to come in during our open hours so that they can be present for people who are here working in the space who may need a hand or may need like some advice from somebody who really knows what they're doing. And so people with skills can really pass on their knowledge, and we're trying to give them every opportunity to do that and to connect with other people who have similar skills. Great, good.
So we have some questions coming in from across the Pennsylvania area. So question number 1. Are there any upcoming events that your organizations are hosting that you'd like to highlight? So let's go to Abby. Anything that you're organizing that's kind of on a calendar that you'd like to have everybody?
Yeah, currently we don't have a lot on the calendar. Just typically we've held events in this space. We do have some partnerships with SCORE. So starting in the new year, we'll have some virtual hosting events with SCORE for nonprofit management. So there's a variety of different workshops coming up for that. And then we will be starting to offer that virtual membership in January. And we'll be starting to have details about that just as a way for people to stay connected and support each other as we get through this.
Yeah, so SCORE is an amazing organization, typically retired executives, and the fact that you're having an event, specifically for nonprofits is great. Nonprofit still needs to figure out how to manage cash flow and find its customers. So it's great that you're, helping that segment of the startup community. So that's great. So Spud, how about Three Dots? Any upcoming events?
Yeah, so December 15th, I believe at 5:30, we have our end of year live party. So we're going to be giving out our final 2 grants of the year, and it's going to be live. So people are going to be able to actually tune in and meet the trustees and the folks that vote on the grant. So if people would like to see some of our past winners, hear stories of what they're doing, that'll be December 15th. And then we're also really interested in how do you create opportunities for people to meet, not necessarily in a virtual way with different creative endeavors. So if folks haven't had a chance to come downtown, you can see a light installation that we have in our windows. So that's like a 24/7 ongoing choose your own adventure event. So there's a really cool light exhibit featuring Ian Brill in the windows at the moment. And then the last thing that I'll highlight here, because usually we give away $1,000, but happening tomorrow night, there is a Christmas tree lighting, and I know Three Dots is featured in it. I don't know if New Leaf or the Rivet, if they're also participating or not, but if you vote on your favorite Christmas tree, the winner gets $1,000. So if you want to return the favor for Three Dots, we'll take that vote any day. So you can go check that out tomorrow night.
Very good. Very cool. All right. How about Rivet? Any upcoming events that you'd like everybody to know about?
Yeah, so our classes were small to begin with, and they're even smaller now. Thank you, COVID. But we have enough space that we can socially distant people during classes. And our website lists all of the classes that we have going on. New ones pop up almost every week. We have new classes coming up. So stay posted at therivet.org.
Yeah, I should also mention that our class sizes are really very small. So the maximum number of people, for instance, that can take a pottery class is 4 people. It's not a big. You're not exposing yourself to that many people, and we keep them distant. We require masks. We have our ventilation on. We're very careful and we're very concerned.
Great. I know that's a question kind of on everybody's mind, especially as we're entering the winter. So yeah, that's great. Appreciate that. And so the message there for the Rivet is watch the website, right? New classes coming pretty often, and another set of great resources. We did have one other question, although we're going to be wrapping up here soon. I'll toss it out and we'll see who wants to take it. Do you have any resources specific to those looking to start a nonprofit? I think Abby already mentioned that. But how about, well, I think I have Elizabeth on the screen. Maybe that means we need to wrap. Nope. Okay, she said go. So how about Spud? Anything? I think you're pretty open to whatever venture type, right?
Yeah, I've run all of them and hybrid companies, and which I don't recommend doing that. That was difficult. I guess my actually one piece of advice, if you're looking to get a nonprofit off the ground, is don't create another nonprofit, and try to find a fiscal sponsor first. If that's a new phrase to you, go Google it. Fiscal sponsor simply means that you partner with an existing nonprofit and you use their umbrella to be able to do the programming stuff that you want to do. So you don't have to worry about creating board of directors and operation agreements and all that kind of stuff, because if you want to create a nonprofit, my sense is you probably want to create some type of social good in your community. And oftentimes the process of creating the organization gets in the way of creating the social good. And I've run into that countless times, right? And it's no one's fault. It's just the nature of the beast. And so I would highly encourage you, actually Three Dots itself, for the first couple months and years, we actually worked with a fiscal sponsor. And so our donations all went to that group. And then they were able to apply them to the grants that we gave out. And then eventually, after about a year and a half, when we felt like we had our feet under us, we actually created our own 501c3. But I would encourage people not to create another nonprofit because I think we have way too many already, and a lot are willing to use their umbrella, use their structure to help people create the social good that you probably really care about doing, and that's where your time should be spent. So that would be my pushback on people. But obviously, if you want to get a 501c3 off the ground, there's lots of resources online that you can check out. I've got a whole bunch of books probably on my bookshelf about it, so feel free to email me if you'd like. Go to iamspud.com, and I'm happy to help on that one.
Cool, great, yeah, great advice. Do what you want to do, not the corporate stuff on the side, to avoid it. So I think it's time to wrap up. So I'm going to hand it back to Elizabeth and take it away, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Liz. That event was absolutely fantastic. It was so incredibly exciting to see those spaces. Thank you to our audience members who were super interactive. You asked great questions. Thank you for answering our polls. We really appreciated it. And you made that one so fun and exciting. So thank you to Liz, who was the perfect entrepreneur to lead this event. We were joking at the beginning of today that she was really the glue that was holding this event together. She was highly recommended by all of the folks who participated in today's event. And I was so excited to get to meet her and work with her. I also want to thank our other three partners in the event, 3 Dots Downtown, the Rivet and the Discovery Space, as well as the New Leaf Initiative. These 3 people, I know that the audience doesn't always get to see the behind the scenes stuff. They designated a ton of time and energy into helping us plan and execute this event. So I just want to thank them one more time for making this so wonderful. And my last thank you goes out to someone that none of you have gotten to see throughout this entire week of programming, and that's State College Live. They're a local production company who have been producing all of our events this week. So all the fancy stuff that you see on the screen right now, that is all them. We have them to thank. They've done a wonderful job, and they've been really amazing to work with. So we certainly thank them for their time. Before I go today, I just want to remind you that there are several other events going on this week during GEW. There's quite a few left, so please check that out. You can go to gew.psu.edu for the full schedule of events. You'll click on attend and then schedule, and that'll drop up. And we'd also love to hear your feedback on the sessions that you have been able to attend thus far, either this one or any other programs that you've been able to see. So I'm going to be dropping into the chat a link to a survey. That survey is very brief, just ask a couple of questions, but it'll really help us sort of determine better programming for the future and any areas where we can improve upon. So that's it from us at the Penn State Small Business Development Center and GEW Penn State for this week. But again, there's lots of other things going on across the campuses and community partners. So please check them out. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
I'm Jonathan Ortmans, and I'm with Global Entrepreneurship Week. Global Entrepreneurship Week is challenging to understand in some respects because it's 35,000 events happening at the same time in 125 different countries. Global Entrepreneurship Week offers you the opportunity to come and test your aptitude. Join a networking event. Come and meet a mentor. Come and experience a boot camp. Come and experience some other element of the startup community in your city, in your town, and learn about whether or not at some point in your life you may have the interest and the skill to be able to join a startup. And I think this has been effective in allowing people to feel that they're not only driving more of their fellow citizens to consider the path of entrepreneurship in their own countries, but they're learning and participating with people from other nations. It's really in the hearts and the minds of the individuals in each of these countries. There's a way that now we think entrepreneurs might be the force for change in their countries for things beyond just economic change, that they can actually make the world a better place. The field of entrepreneurship is no longer something of narrow commercial significance. It's something of more cultural consequence. It's something that represents the possibility of human endeavor for the benefit